We call this place of work the studios quite deliberately. We wanted it to be a place of creativity.
When you're running a studio rather than a sort of office, you need to make sure that people are getting sort of breadth and depth of influence by being slightly liberal about the way we allow people to approach the work. It tends to bring in greater benefits to projects.
Yeah, I think when we set up Design Engine, one thing we wanted to be absolutely focused on was the idea of making things, making architecture, making space. And I think, personally for me, and I think the others would agree, that the physicality of picking up something and sticking it together, or getting a pen and drawing on a piece of paper, it's the chance encounters you get with making things. Sticking stuff together doesn't quite work as you thought, and actually that's quite an interesting way of doing it. But beyond that, it's actually the democracy of modelling, which I think is very interesting. It's the gathering together, sitting around, looking at the thing. It's fundamental to the way we kind of work.
We've always had a history here of teaching and links to academia generally, and therefore that sort of dovetailing into university life means that there's a constant stimulus for us. And in our projects, we quite often take that one step further into a level of research, which really is only part of the narrative of the design.
So we're very keen from the outset, when we set up Design Engine, that we would try and embrace all aspects of design. So it would include the larger stuff of master planning, right down to the design of, say, a chair, a sofa, or an altar more recently. And we try and apply that approach to all our projects at different levels. So it is the scale shift which we find interesting.
We work in an open plan studio, so the assumption is that everybody knows what's going on. The fact is that everybody's incredibly focused on their own project and very busy. So we introduced the idea of feedback on a Friday. Primarily, I think it was to get together in a social environment to share a bit of knowledge about projects. So sometimes it's aspirational, sometimes it's practical, but it's always uplifting. And from there, normally, we disappear off to the pub, and it's just proved to be a fantastic way to end the week.